Yeah, season 1 of America's Dumbest Security Failures starts now. Good evening and welcome to The Stakes. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is the Michelle Kinney, and we are the co-founders of the Seneca Project. And we've got lots to talk about this week because, frankly, Michelle, I didn't have the Trump regime conducting war operations by chat on my bingo card, but I mean, why not? Why not just add it to the absolute insanity and chaos of the first 66 days, 67 days into this?
You honestly couldn't write this shit. You could not write this shit.
No, you could not script this. So instead of us trying to diagnose this without a certain level of expertise, we have our great friend and Seneca Project advisor, former Congressman Denver Riggleman, with us in a minute to talk about this, because Denver actually has a whole career in intelligence and cybersecurity. He has a company that does this stuff. He did this in the military. He knows a little thing or two about this. So that's why we said, Den, you got to come on and hang out with us, because we have our opinions, but he actually has expertise in this. So you don't have to just believe us. We bring expertise to the show. So if you have some questions for Denver, throw them in the chat. We'll ask a couple of them as we go through the conversation tonight, because we want to make sure you guys get your questions answered, and we may not cover everything. So if you have something, throw it in the chat. Make sure you like and subscribe too if you haven't yet, because it helps the algorithm and spreads the word so folks can watch The Stakes. So without further ado, let's bring Denver on in.
Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry. I was on Signal with Macron doing top secret French and American battle plans against the Basque separatists.
Nice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was, oh, Michelle, I accidentally added you to the chat.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
How'd that happen? Apparently, people just show up on Signal by osmosis, apparently, or I don't know. The bullshit excuses, Denver, that they're giving us about how this all unfolded are laughable. I mean, how dumb do they think everybody really is here? I think it's pretty insulting, especially given the hypocrisy and the double standard of what we went through in 2016 with Hillary. And her emails where she was like talking about like Chelsea's wedding or something and like nail appointments. And there was nothing anywhere close to this. They wanted to lock her up. But these guys, I mean, no big deal.
It feels like from Hillary to Hegseth sort of feels like cuisine from Emeril Lagasse to Jeffrey Dahmer, but looking at what's happening here, I've had a lot of questions today, seriously, about, first of all, even using Signal as a mission planning tool, right? And that is not a thing right now. Signal can be used as a encrypted app among friends, even if you're, having normal conversations, but actually putting that type of information over that app and not knowing everybody that's on the app, that seems like it's sort of a common sense thing that wouldn't be something that you would use as an intelligence officer. But here's the thing. It's the fact that the conspiracy theories are already starting, as you guys both know, that somehow Jeff Goldberg from The Atlantic has the technical skill and acumen to hack the National Security Advisor's telephone.
Right.
Okay, let me say that again.
Right.
That Jeff Goldberg, a reporter from The Atlantic, has a technical acumen to hack the National Security Advisor's phone. Now, since we all use Signal, let me say this too. You have to be invited to Signal, has to already be in your contacts. And I said something, I don't know if, God, guys, it was on Bloomberg or MSNBC or something. Like I said, I think people are missing the fact that Mike Waltz is probably already leaking stuff and talking to Jeff Goldberg in the past. There's somehow he got that phone number. I don't know if, unless, they're in the same, I don't know, dating app. So, and then, the other thing that would be awful for Jeff Goldberg.
There's something going around about Mike Johnson and Grindr.
Well, I mean,
dating
that,
apps, but
that,
that's another show. That's the stakes after
I don't
dark.
judge.
Go ahead,
I don't judge. I'm just a guy doing my thing. And then, when you're talking about what they actually put on the Signal chat, I was a mission planner. I actually mission planned targets for so many bombing runs. People don't understand. I was trained on F-15s, F-16s, B-1s during 9/11. I was in OAF, good Lord, just keep going down the line and everything I've supported. You don't have time over target, the platforms that you're using and the specific target with other people on there. The breach of security protocols here are so cascading and so numerous that it's hard for me as a former military officer, former op, to look at this and not think the buffoonery is so large, but it also could have put our warfighters at risk.
Yes. Can you explain why? Because I saw during the hearings this week, both in the Senate and the House side, and I give credit to the veterans who are on these committees who have been incensed by this because, like you, they fully understand what the ramifications could have been. And they're like, what the fuck? And so, but they couldn't say that they could have, I guess, but they didn't say that, even though Tammy Duckworth did call Pete Hegseth an effing liar, which was fabulous. And she went on Fox News and defended it. But like just Representative Jason Crow, who is a badass. He's a Democrat from Colorado.
Good friend of mine. Mm-hmm.
Army Ranger. He lit into these guys about this and went through why the plans and the information that they put in here and the type of weaponry that was used, why this was so egregious. Can you just explain so people like the layperson can understand?
Goodness. The layers of this. So when you're doing mission planning, there's something called an air tasking order. And that air tasking order is always a classified document, whether it's a real operation or an exercise, right? So an air tasking order gives you all your platforms. So all of your ISR assets, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. It gives you all your fighter assets, all your bomber assets, all your support assets. It gives you what altitudes they're at. Combat air patrol, right? Which your containers are, tells you what your standard configuration loadout is. An SCL is what kind of bombs are hanging off your plane, right? So think about it this way, right? So you have a time over target. So this is being blasted out. You have a reporter like, oh, look, in 47 minutes, they're going to hit the Houthis. Oh, that's right. Oh, with F-18s. Oh, if you're a smart person, right? And how about this? If you're just above moron, okay. I mean, just like barely, right? You could suss that the Houthis, or there's people there and say, you know what? The F-18s usually carry this type of armaments. They usually come in at this altitude, right? Mm-hmm. If it's our specific target, do we move him somewhere, right? So all this is there's so much wrong. Again, there's so many military bad words that are going through my head right now, but all that stuff is classified. Yeah. And the fact that they were putting that out there, again, could have put people at risk because there's smart people out there trying to kill us.
We have a couple questions here. Someone wants to know, I think it's Joe Kurtz, throw up that question. For Denver, how can we tell how dire the fallout will be? I worry about the operative that was unmasked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, gosh, we even forgot that they had a active CIA agent on the thread with somebody else, right? That you had active sources on the thread, which would hint, again, that there might be a human intelligence source on the ground giving somebody information about the whereabouts of the specific target. You understand? There's so much wrong. So the question is so valid because what happens is it's not only the material that was being released during the Signal chat, it was the people on the chat and the suggestion that those people could indicate sources and methods used to identify a specific target in a specific area of responsibility. And here are the weapons we like to use against them.
Right.
It's
so outrageous. It's just like, how do you not know this? You're the Secretary of Defense. I just want to remind people, there were 18 people, high level people on this Signal chat, ranging from the vice president of the United States, who is a heartbeat away, okay, a Big Mac and a half away from the presidency, and all the way down to the director of national intelligence, the CIA director, the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor. I mean, 18 people, the chief of staff for the president. Nobody freaking thought that this was a bad idea.
They are not smart enough to think it's a bad idea. Also, actually, I think Stephen Miller was probably the most powerful person on that chat thread. He was the one who sort of called the ball, right?
Yeah.
And we also had a guy in Russia there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who said, right? He was like, well, yeah, I was on the thread, but don't worry. I left my personal phone back in the States, to which I'm like, so you're doing this on your personal phone? Like that somehow makes it better. I don't know what's worse, quite frankly.
Well, I've thought, like, do we joke our way through this? Do we say how ridiculous it is, with what we're saying right now? Listen, they're so unserious. When unserious equals danger, unserious equals threat, that's when people have to be fired or they need to resign. But in this administration, which is sort of like the Pablo Escobar administration, never admit you're wrong, right? I mean, that's really what you have here is they're going to double down on this no matter what. There's not going to be an investigation. This is over as far as the Trump administration is concerned. Yeah. I do think, though, that this should be in the news cycle. I would hope that the media is not so lazy that they're not looking at where every single person is, because we have one other outstanding item that we have not addressed yet. Where was Tulsi?
Right.
And why wouldn't she answer the question?
She doesn't remember. It's been how many days since the hearing? She's like, oh, I have to check my schedule.
She's full of shit.
You knew exactly where you were. Like, what?
You could.
So the DNI didn't know where she was when we were bombing people?
Amazing. Well, and that's the thing is like, and I want to play this clip really quick. We played this on our show Over It yesterday, but I just, it's a pop culture reference that I think applies to this moment. Oops. Hold on. Nope, it's not that one. This keeps happening to me every time. But yeah, here it is. Hold on.
I'm ready, Michelle.
Forget the myths that the media has created about the White House. The truth is, these are not very bright guys, and things got out of hand.
I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, these are not terribly smart people. And this is what happens when you appoint an entire cabinet of central casting choices instead of actual merit-based choices. Pete Hegseth, who said the word meritocracy, I don't know how many times during his, confirmation hearing, meritocracy. And I'm like, okay, this is a guy who has lied about, let's see, his drinking, his sexual assault, his abuse of his wives, how many wives he's had, how many children he has, about the tattoo on his chest. I mean, I don't know at what point, again, this guy, how the Republicans can live with themselves. People like, what's her face? The pig slayer. What's her name? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Christy Nome?
No,
that's
the other one.
Dog Slayer.
Ernst.
Sorry, that's
Joni Ernst.
I get confused about all the slayers. Oh, Joni Ernst, yeah.
Joni Ernst.
Well, pigs, dogs, goats, they're all dead in the GOP.
Christy Nome's the puppy executioner.
Right.
Yeah, animals, they're all getting killed in this administration. But I think as we're going down this rabbit hole, and we see what this administration is, I'm wondering how many people are really questioning their confirmation votes right now in the Senate when you look at everybody who was there. And if not, I don't know what else to do. I don't know if stupidity is a terminal disease and we're there, because it looks like ignorance has metastasized on a level that we've never seen. It's like literally the Spanish flu, but the moron version. Right. And, so I don't know.
Serious though, Dan. It's like these people are morons, but people's lives are at stake.
I know. That's
our
why
national security is at stake. Our relationships with our allies, like Canada said today, look, we're just going to have to be more Canada. Like, it's going to just have to, we can't depend on the United States anymore. We're going to just have to do it ourselves, go at it alone. They're trying to blow up Five Eyes. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
What if Americans start to revolt because of lack of maple syrup? What happens then? And I mean, the other thing, I wanted to go to Canada fishing actually in Quebec in the next few months. I'm like, are we welcome there? It's just like me going to Ukraine in May. How are they going to be treating Americans even with humanitarian aid based on us leaving them in a lurch? Because my guess is there's going to be a brokered peace and they're going to lose another 18 to 20% of their territory over Crimea, right? So, an 18 to 20% in a country that's already shrinking because it's slowly being segmented, who's going to trust us? You talked about Five Eyes. Why would anybody share intel with us if they think they got a drunk sec def, who likes to text his besties for for classified operations, right? So I don't really know. I don't know where we go from here, except that we need adults back in the room. And I still don't see the type of anger that you need to see from the Senate, even though some people ask some fairly decent questions. Tulsi Gabbard saying she didn't know where she was as the DNI is so egregious. At that point, it was like, if I'm in the Senate, I want to let you guys know, I would have said, you need to resign right now.
Right.
That's what I would have said. You should go. You're obviously, there's something wrong with you. You're not just pretending to be ignorant. You're lying to the Senate because you're so worried about where you were. Now I really want to know.
Yes, that's right. What are you hiding? Because it strains credulity to think that you are just you can't remember where you were 2 weeks ago when we had a major bombing operation against Yemen.
Right.
That's bullshit. That's your job. You're the director of national intelligence. You oversee all of this, the intelligence apparatus. Like, you don't remember? What the fuck were you doing instead that was more important? I don't know.
I'd love to. Sorry, go ahead.
Yoga?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to play a clip with John Ossoff. I thought he did a good job questioning them the first day when they were in the Senate. He was one of the more memorable ones.
This was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director
The
Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national political reporter...
You can characterize it how you want.
...was made privy to sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization.
Mistake of adding a reporter...
And that wasn't a huge mistake? That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterized it as a
embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Red.
I mean, yeah. That's how we always need to be questioning these people. That's the problem. And, it goes back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats want to ask questions about this, and the Republicans want to pretend it's not happening and, spend the first minute complimenting them about how wonderful they are, and then spend the rest of the time deflecting and talking about something else. And I just don't know how this party has fallen so far from, the party of Reagan. That, I was no Ronald Reagan fan. I mean, I'm a Democrat, unlike, you guys, but I think we can all agree that this is not something that he would have supported. And I'm sure,
You said something there, Michelle, that you noticed, I think the American public is noticing, is that, the 1 minute of gratuitous, adulation at the beginning, there's only 5 minute question and answer time.
Right.
So the thing is, it should be 10 minutes, but what happens is what we're told, if there's an issue, is you filibuster or you reclaim your time.
That's right.
So what you're seeing is they're just filibustering through those 5 minutes, asking a couple easy questions so they don't make Trump mad, right? Or they don't make the people in their district mad, because it's not about the American citizens itself. It's about how they're polling in their district with their crosstabs. And then, that's it. That's what you do. You filibuster your time away instead of actually asking real questions based on what side of the aisle you're sitting on. And it comes to this. And I wonder in a bigger picture, and I'd love to know your opinion on this, both of you. In the bigger picture, is the two-party system anachronistic? Can we even, with the new way that data is transferred, with the new vertical silos that we see popping up, with the fact that it's always shirts against skins, and yes, we can say the Republicans are in a hold my beer moment when it comes to crazy, but we've seen it on the left too. But is the two-party system OBE? Has it been overcome by events, right? Are we to a point that we know now we have to have a third way? I don't know. I don't know how that happens, but I'd love to know your opinion on this, because it seems to me we don't have the tools to deal with the type of disinformation and crazy we're seeing right now.
Well, I would say that you're right. We're overwhelmed with this. And because the right wing has had decades head start on this, that a lot of people were asleep at the switch, or they had their heads up their own asses, or they were in denial about what was happening. And I think a lot of folks on the Democratic side are in denial about where we are right now. And I was at an event earlier today in a room of 400 people at a luncheon honoring Black women in business for the Black Chamber of Commerce. And a couple of my friends who were there are lobbyists. And one of them said to me, Tara, people up on the Hill are scared to death. And they're not just scared about primary challengers. They're concerned about Elon Musk's data smash and grab, and that they actually have data. They have stuff on these senators. So when the confirmation process was going on, they were scared. They were scared because not just because of primary challenges, but because Elon has gone in with Doge and sucked up personal information on all of us, by the way, including these senators. And they fear for their families, for their careers, and for their safety.
I think that's absolutely plausible that they have those fears, but can I tell you guys something? And that means I'm the perfect weapon, because I've been accused by Bigfoot erotica on the left and Tool the Antichrist on the right. So there's really not much else you can do to me. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, right? I mean, what are you going to do?
I know.
I'm a Nazi, Bigfoot eroticist, tool of the Antichrist, general of the sodomite armies, secret Jewish individual who's part of the Zionist organizational government that's been laundering money for George Soros through my distillery.
It sounds like you. It sounds like you.
That's all of those are true.
New book.
My new book is Manifesto for the Sane that I'm writing right now, and
Love it.
which I'm pretty excited about. But I don't know what else. I think that's why you need people up there who really don't give a flying F-bomb, what you think they might have. Plus, I am a data expert. And if you're going to bring it, you better come fully loaded. You better come packing. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, if you don't have your facts together and your data together, I'm going to rip you limb from limb intellectually. It's just going to be awful for you. And I think that a lot of people don't realize the limits of that data, that Elon can't see everything. And I think people need to start leaning forward. Now, military term, there's a fine line between leaning forward and bending over, right? But I think people do need to lean forward and start fighting even a little bit more. And I do believe a lot of the GOP are already conspiracy theorists, so they believe crazy stuff. They might believe that actually they're leveraged with data. They don't, you know what? He might have data in the database from the secret UFO files that I had an affair, in 1978 at the circus, down in Johnson City, Tennessee, So, man, the bearded lady was so beautiful, So I don't want to. I think that they actually believe that kind of stuff, and it's just not true. Go out there and start kicking ass is what I'd like to say.
I wanted to bring this up too, because it appears, speaking of data and information being left out in the open, Mike Waltz, who's the guy who started this whole Signal fiasco, left his Venmo friend list public. First of all, he left his Venmo public. And as a Venmo user, I don't know how or why anybody is leaning into the social media aspect of that app. It's crazy.
Hold on a minute. Let me put my stuff on private real quick, Michelle. Hold on. But no, I think
And wait a minute, it was left on until Wednesday when they this all had happened, because I talked about this today on my Set Mayor Sound Off, where I was like, this dumbass kept it open until yesterday afternoon. So after this whole thing blew up already, his stupid ass this is the National Security Advisor of the United States. This guy's job is to be the National Security Advisor to the President of the United States, had his Venmo, the app that you use to like pay back your friends for concert tickets or like to pay your babysitter for the weekend.
Split a dinner check.
Open.
Right.
328 friends, including Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, including a bunch of journalists, including your favorite guy there, Denver, Ivan Ratlin, Mr. Enemies List.
Oh, really? He's paying Ivan Ratlin.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mr.
The Alpha Virginia. You know,
do you want to explain who that is?
Ivan Ratlin was the person who actually went after Pence pretty hard with the Pence playbook or play card or whatever. He was a hugely instrumental in January 6th also, a purveyor of conspiracy theories, likes to threaten people. I think, wasn't Ivan,
list, right?
Yeah, he did part of the enemies list thing, but wasn't he with Enrique Tarrio when they went after Fanone and Harry Dunn at the Principals First conference also?
Yes, he
Raiklan
was.
I've met. Never a supporter of mine. You know,
doesn't he live down there near you?
Oh yeah. Ivan's. I used to have his phone number. Yeah, he gave me his number and stuff. Yeah, and you guys know I know Mike Waltz really well too, right?
Well,
so I know Mike really well.
Were you in Congress together?
We served together. Came in the 116th together. Thought he was a great guy. I mean, this guy served his country. Actually, I don't know if you guys remember this. Trump hated him. He actually ran as an anti-Trump Republican and won. Trump actually put money against him in Florida. And I've had private conversations with Mike when he sort of turned, right? When his ship turned into the brilliant summer sun of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago. And, you know, we had a pretty awful conversation about it. And, you know, Mike, when I knew him, the things that he did just sort of went down the Trump hole. I don't understand. Right. And now he's just acting sort of ludicrous, conspiratorial, right? Talking about somehow how it was hacked. No, Jeffrey Goldberg didn't hack your signal. You've had that number and sometime you invited him. It's actually, you can see the invite.
Yes.
Come on, man. Stop. Elon Musk is going to find out how Signal was hacked. It's going to say Mike Waltz invited Jeff Goldberg.
Right.
You know, there you go. I'm done. I did it in 5 seconds. So, you know, so I think Mike has really betrayed a sense of duty and honor. And I would tell him that to his face, and he knows it. And I think, and say, Mike, what are you doing, man? You know, it was bullshit. Come on. You're military. You don't think everybody in the military is out there? They go, okay, man. It was a conspiracy theory. Yeah. Okay, QAnon. Let's just keep, you know. So I think that's what scares me, is that they would rather show loyalty than do the right thing and say, you know what? I tell you what, I don't think if Mike Waltz came out and said he screwed up, I think Trump would fire him. I think part of staying in, I think part of staying there is never apologizing.
No. That's the biggest no-no.
Yeah, it's like Hegseth when he doubled down on all his nonsense. I think Trump got off on it. Same with Kavanaugh during his hearing. He wasn't going to back down and then went in and did the whole cry face, I like beer shit, you know, and Donald Trump was like, yeah, I like it, you know, because it's all it's all happening on TV for Donald Trump. It's not like this, you know. It's
reality machismo, right?
Right.
And you know, that's what it is. And I think as we're going forward, we have to start looking as a constituency, as American citizens. Maybe it's not about always having a letter behind your name, regardless. Maybe it's about facts and truth and calling balls and strikes. It just seems like that the Democratic side of the aisle is calling more balls and strikes right now.
Well, you have to have balls first before you can call them.
It's sort of true. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and it's not because I'm on the Seneca Project. It's not because I'm here with two incredibly successful individuals, but I want to say this. Why does it seem like the Duckworths of the world are much more strident and on point and on target than even the Mark Warners of the world? Even Mark came out hard. It wasn't like Tammy.
No, because women lead the charge always. Women are always the braver
Well,
one. I mean,
it seems that there's more of that. What word am I looking for? It's courage. It's not just courage. It's like the ability to define and sort of put the left-right boundaries on what's happening without having to go off on tangents, right? It's like, here's what happened. Here's what you did, right? This is what y'all did. I don't have to go over here or over there. You guys did this. I just made X disinformation. But so I think that's what I really appreciate, especially with military veterans coming out and swinging the bat like that.
Yep.
Well, I would say it's because Tammy Duckworth lost her legs as a combat veteran and pilot and truly understands the sacrifice. And Mark Warner, our governor, senator here in Virginia, is a company guy. He's been here too long. And, right. And it's
the most wealthy, if not wealthiest member, right?
One of the wealthiest members. Yes. And it's like, women understand we don't have the luxury to fuck around. We don't have the luxury to bullshit because we have to literally fight for everything because we weren't equal for so long and we're not equal now. So we have to get right to the point because we don't have the luxury to waste time.
I mean, we see the fight, right? And by the way, my wife's liquor's here. So anyway, Christine,
I don't have my bottle because it's in the bar. Usually I have it sitting here on my desk here, and Michelle has her drink, and I meant to grab it, but it's been one of those days.
It's been one of those weeks.
Christine
we love your wife. Christine is a badass. This is why Denver is part of us, because he's surrounded by badass women. He's the father of 3 daughters. He's got a badass wife who just won again 3rd year in a row at the Bourbon Festival in New Orleans for the Silverback, right?
She's just a stud.
Yeah.
Somebody
asked if you have any openings at your distillery.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to ask the CEO, Christine Riggleman.
Yeah.
I'm not. And when you have a wife like her and then you have 3 daughters, 3 granddaughters, I don't really have a choice.
Yeah. And you just started a new podcast, which I would love to tell people about.
With another badass woman.
Yeah, with Amy McGrath. And, oh my gosh, guys, you didn't have to do that. My heart is full. You didn't have. You guys are the greatest. And, Amy, there's Amy and I arm wrestling, which is sort of funny. I have to let the Marines win. I have to let the Marines win every now and then.
I don't know. Let the Marines. Come on. You were Air Force, weren't you?
Yeah, but I had a high score on the ASVABs. But anyway, I love, me and Amy go back and forth on this all the time.
Of course you do.
I got a call from Amy. She wanted to do a show. She had really done incredible work with getting donors, and they wanted her out there. And like, who do you want to do this with? And for some reason, and I know that's surprising, she thought of me, right? And like I'm telling you guys, I'm not aging like Sam Elliott. I'm not aging like Clint Eastwood or Gene Hackman or Denzel. I'm aging like, Benny Hill, like W.C. Fields. But, but she's like, Dad, I need you on here. She goes, I need somebody who is a Republican. I need somebody who was military. I need somebody who's intelligence. I need somebody who actually, won a congressional race, Amy. And then, it's just, but Amy went against Mitch McConnell, right? I mean, that's badass.
I mean,
that's for her for making the effort.
You could be Jesus Christ and probably not,
No, you wouldn't have, And then, she did so much for women in politics. I don't know if you've seen some of her ads that she funded, ads she did with Abby Spanberger, who I know well also. So Amy calls me, and we don't agree on everything. I mean, Amy and I actually don't, but our policy discussions are facts-based. And I think just like what you are doing here at the Seneca Project, you don't have to make things up. We don't have to use disinformation or conspiracy theories or things like that. We can say, here's what happened. Here's what's going on. We're the, anti-conspiracy theory. And I think Seneca Project, Truth in the Barrel, things like that. Those are the people who are non-hyperbolic. We're still allowed to curse.
Yes.
We're still allowed to be angry, still allowed to make jokes. But I do see you're not hyperbolic, and we don't want to be hyperbolic. You can be funny and not hyperbolic. And I think this new breed of podcast needs to continue just like this in the discussion we're having tonight when we talk about real policy, nuance, when you're talking about what security actually is, when you're talking about what these people have said and what they've lied about,
Yeah.
that really does bother those individuals when you do that.
Yeah.
Well, we're thrilled to see you. Amy's a friend of ours, and we're hoping to work with her group on some things here in Virginia because, like you said, Abigail Spanberger is running for governor against Winsome Sears, who's a lunatic, and Abigail Spanberger is smart and understands what's going on and would be a great governor. So
I agree.
We're hoping to be able to do some stuff there. And then
my book up too. My
Yes.
God, New York Times bestseller, by the way.
Too. I've got your book.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's I'm just happy and proud and honored that you all would have me on your board. And I'm so happy to be here. And what you're doing is really God's work, and keep going. And, I just don't know. I think sometimes where we go from here, but I do know this. I think you guys picked the best and greatest guest you've ever had tonight. And I just want to tell people that I'm
Denver. Oh my gosh. Well, listen, we love you too, and we're thrilled, and it's an honor for us to have you a part of us. And you are our favorite girl dad, and you are our only male senior advisor on our board. And
we wouldn't let just anybody.
Yeah, we wouldn't let just anybody in. Are you kidding?
not any old bloke,
No, but we love you, and we're grateful not only for your humor, for your heart, but for your expertise and for your service and everything you've done. And thank you. And everyone, please, if you're not following Denver, please follow him. If you don't know about the Bigfoot erotica, follow him and find out why. It's hilarious.
Yes. So funny.
And if you haven't gotten his book, get his book, because it's about his time. He ran the data operation for the January 6th committee. They did the technical stuff that got into the text messages and uncovered the Mark Meadows stuff, the Ginny Thomas stuff. So Denver's being very humble tonight, but he has done incredible work in the pro-democracy space, and we're grateful for him, and we love you. Thank you, Den.
I am humbled and honored. You guys keep killing it, okay? Keep killing it.
We're trying.
Yes. And hugs to, and cheers to Christine again for being the, what do you call her? The bourbon mama? What do you call her? The hooch mama.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody down there was calling her hoochie mama. She's like, no.
No. That has a very different meaning.
Yeah.
It's not exactly right.
One syllable too many. No.
And and there was so many dudes calling her that. I'm looking at her like, what am I missing?
Oh my God.
This is exciting.
I mean, it was New Orleans. Anyway, please go have a lovely evening with your wonderful bride, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you, Den. Love you.
Take care, y'all. Love you.
Bye. Oh, what did I just do? Sorry. There we go.
That's all right. I love him.
The best.
Can you tell? Can you tell that we love Denver? How can you not love Denver Riggleman?
Listen, when I want somebody to tell it to me straight, like for real, when something bad happens in the news, what chat do I go to? Well, I go to two chats. First, the group chat with the gals.
Yes.
Second one, Denver.
It's with Denver. And yes, the thing about this whole SignalGate thing is that we live on Signal.
Oh yeah.
We have lived, I'd never heard of Signal until a couple years ago. It's a relatively new app. Yeah. But once I discovered it, and then we conduct business on it because we're all remote, we're all in different places. Okay. And so, I even have my mom on Signal. We have a group chat with my mom now on Signal. The boomers are coming to Signal.
We're in a group chat with your mom. I love it.
So, it's a great app for this stuff. Not for blowing things up in another country.
No. Operational day-to-day stuff for people like Tara and I are okay, can you tweet this? Hey, did anybody do that? That's really, or here's this news story. What do you think? I mean, that's really the extent. I mean, I wouldn't listen. I think people evade responsibility like these people were doing because they're trying to evade the presidential records laws, right? That says any sort of operational anything that you do, there has to be a record of it.
That's correct.
I think part of the story here that people aren't talking about enough is that this is part of Project 2025. Yep. There is a clause in Project 2025 that says to avoid the presidential records, was it the act, whatever it is, and skirt the system and try to destroy. There is actually, it says shred things.
Yep.
Shred
Didn't Russell Vogt say that he wanted to traumatize government workers?
And he is.
And he is. And just for people to remember, Russell Vogt is the head of the Office of Management and Budget, which is pretty much responsible for how the White House wants to set its agenda. So yeah, that's the guy that got Senate confirmed, by the way.
Yep. And you know, I don't want to say too much because, you know, I always try to protect the you know, the identity and background of the people in my life. But, you know, there's someone that I've known for many years who works in the public sector, in the health area for public health. And, you know, Doge made its way into her office. And you want to talk about traumatized. If it wasn't the COVID situation, you know, 4 or 5 years ago that did it, I mean, here's round 2, and has worked for the government in the public health sector for years and years and years and years. And to just have a bunch of teenagers walk into your office and wreck the place and take the computers and and just sit there while you're just like, there goes all the work.
It's just
the lives of people in this country. I mean, it's really devastating. And, you know, it's just the fact that we are taking any sort of health information. My mom told me something today about the people in Texas. There's like the vitamin A toxicity people are having because he's telling people to take vitamin A for measles or something. And so people are like, oh,
this is like the ivermectin thing, and like the people who the what was it called, the something hydroxychloroquine or whatever it was called. What was it called?
Yeah, I think
hydrochloroquine.
Yeah,
and people were like dying from it because these dumbasses told them to take it during COVID, as opposed to taking like the vaccine that scientists came up with, not to take you know, fox mange medication, which is what ivermectin is.
That's the dewormer thing, right? It's
yes, we use it we give it to our wild foxes out here when they are mangy. We put it in a little meat, we put it out so the fox can get, you know, rid of mange.
Right.
Yeah, it's a dewormer.
And you know, here he needs a dewormer in his brain.
No shit. Yes, I was waiting. I'm like, wait, there's a joke here. There's a joke here.
In his brain. But you know, he was on Jesse Waters, I think. Was it today? No, I guess it was. Who was it today? And this
RFK?
is what did I say?
You just said he. I was which one? I was like, which he?
I'm like losing my mind. RFK Jr. On Jesse Waters. And this is just another example why the Republicans claim to care about things and they don't. Just listen to what he had to say.
Never on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
Hold on. I forget to remove
Denver Riggleman was not on Jeffrey Epstein's jet.
On Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times.
All right, hold on. Let me play this again.
You weren't ever on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times.
You weren't ever on.
It's like, what? I mean, because here's the obsession with the Epstein stuff, because they want to, you know, make all the Democrats out to be these, you know, sexual deviants, which some of them are. But, you know, and then they have RFK Jr. on being like, well, you weren't there, right? And he's like, yeah, I was.
Yeah, actually, I was.
And they're like,
oh, whoops. Yeah.
You know,
he has to admit it because they have the files now.
Right. Yeah.
So they have the files now. So if he lied and said he wasn't, then and somebody finds out he was, well, I mean, not like it matters. They lie every day, but I'm just saying that could have been even more embarrassing. But again, not like it matters. But he's so aloof. He's just like, nah, I was on there twice.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care. And you know, and
Jesus,
it's just been like a clown car of, again, unqualified people.
Yes.
The same date that the SignalGate story came out, Alina Habba, okay.
Oh my God, this one
was named interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey. Okay. Alina Habba was a parking garage lawyer, okay, who was staking out at Bedminster and was in her bikini, like walking around trying to get in, to the circle. And it was like, what did she buddy up to some waitress, got her to sign an NDA, like represented her in some sexual harassment thing,
right?
Signed an NDA and was like, hey, she was, double
sold her out. Yeah,
sold
her out actually.
Got the attention of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump was like, oh, I like you. You're nice. And so that's how we're here. And as for somebody who, she was representing him in all of these, court cases.
All the cases he lost.
Right. All of them that he lost.
Yeah.
And
before that, she was like representing a parking garage.
Correct.
She's not exactly a high-powered, American Bar Association Lawyer of the Year.
No, and here's a clip of her not long ago saying something. It's literally all we need to know. Let me just make sure I X'd out of this first. Yeah, it's literally everything we already know, and I can't.
Yeah, but a lot of people have never seen her actually
to him or in the public, because I can tell you it's been a double-edged sword.
Yeah, both.
It's been something I have had to deal with in the positive and in the negative. I don't think I would be on TV or sitting here if I didn't look the way I look. I think I caught attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very honest about that, and I don't mind. I'm not a feminist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I believe in strong women, but I want my door opened. I am very much an old school. My parents are Middle Eastern, old school woman. I when I'm at home, I cook. I have a husband. I respect. I know how to turn it off. But do I not think that if so I'll tell you something. Somebody said to me, Alina, would you rather be smart or pretty? And I said, oh, easy, pretty. I can fake being smart.
Isn't that funny?
You can also fake being pretty. You can pay for it.
You can pay for it. And and I don't judge anybody for doing it. I get Botox, all kind of stuff on my face. I don't care. But it's like, it's more about the being proud of the arrogant. It's like they brag about how stupid they are, which is just, part of this whole thing. It is just, they brag about how stupid they are.
Mm-hmm. And there's a word for this. It's called Kakistocracy.
Right.
That is the word. It's a real word. It is the worst, most unqualified people in charge. That is the word. Kakistocracy.
Just like this.
Just like this. The smartest person in that room right there is actually Big Bird.
It's Big Bird. It's wild. And
I can't. I know it's hard to, it really is hard to believe that we're here. And my great home state of New Jersey has a very complicated political structure there. New Jersey and New York, like that area, a lot of the criming that goes on there is very complicated.
Very corrupt. And
there's a lot going on. And this bimbo bitch is now going to be in charge as the U.S. attorney. She's the federal prosecutor there. That used to be Chris Christie's job. Okay. Right. Like whatever you want to say about Chris Christie, he's competent.
Right.
All right. Like, are we kidding?
Giuliani, right, was like Southern District of New York at one point.
Rudy Giuliani was in Southern District. Yes.
He wasn't.
What is going to happen to the federal criminal justice system in New Jersey with this bimbo? I cannot.
Which leads me to Miss Elise Stefanik.
Oh my gosh, your favorite thing.
So the reason I say which leads me to, because she is someone who has gotten where she is in life because she's smart, because she's qualified, because she went to Harvard, because all of these things. And she has sort of thrown all of that away to sell her soul to MAGA because she has no soul and she is craven. And Donald Trump had nominated her to be UN ambassador until today, which is just
yes.
For
those who don't know, Michelle she grew up, her family lives in New York 21, Elise Stefanik's district, and she has been, Michelle, like most of us, but it's even more so because it's her home district, has been watching Elise Stefanik's career and what's happened to her with a specific interest. One of her friends ran against her, and she knows firsthand how fucking terrible Elise Stefanik is. So what's happening to her is just, karma.
Chef's kiss. And the thing with her is, I think
Wait, can you put that back up?
Yeah.
Sure. I almost don't even recognize her. Speaking of, wow, okay.
That was her confirmation hearing.
I mean, okay, go ahead.
So yes. So my friend Tedra Cobb ran against her 2 times. Yes, that is the district in which I grew up. My dad went to high school with John McHugh, who was the congressman up there for a very long time. He was friends with my uncle. My mom knew him. Nice, good guy. Became Secretary of the Army under Obama. He's a Republican, worked with the Democrat, those days of yore.
Yeah.
There was a 3-way race to a special election, which split the vote on the conservative side and created a path for the Democrat to win. And Bill Owens served up there, I think, for 2 terms. He gave up the seat, and Elise Stefanik came in, and everybody was so excited about her because she was a young gun, just like, the Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, they were all going up there to.
I remember it's back when I was a Republican. We thought she was great. She was going to be the future of some of the younger ones.
Youngest woman to ever be elected.
Yep.
She was a compassionate conservative. She supported gay rights. I mean, my God, and how she has taken this tumble.
Add her to the ash heap, like the rest of them.
Add her to the ash heap. And I was telling Julie Roginski and I did a live on Substack earlier today.
I saw.
Whole hour on this, and I was like, it brings me joy. There's a shine of all of this that I am just enjoying because she deserves this. Because she thought she was going to be, so she did all the things that she thought she was going to have to do. Say the crazy things, do the crazy things, be cruel, mean, awful. Because she thought she was going to be picked to be Donald Trump's vice president. And of course not, because this is what happens. And so then she's like, okay, well, the next, best thing I think for me, UN ambassador, you get this sick apartment in Sutton Place in Manhattan, work at the UN. All you got to do is just show up and like shit talk people every now and then. And
travel the world. You get to travel the world.
Good gig. And so everybody else their nomination vote has gone through. All of them. So they were waiting on Elise Stefanik because of the 3 special elections. And the Republicans in the House have such a slim majority that they are afraid. So they're playing musical chairs right now while they fill those seats back up. And I think they're looking at the writing on the wall. And things are not looking good for them. In a normal time, these 2 special elections, Florida 1st and Florida 6th, would just be free, smooth sailing for them.
Just so that people know, Florida 6 is Mike Waltz' old district, and Florida 1 is Matt Gaetz. Both seats have been vacated. Obviously, Matt Gaetz, we know why. And then Mike Waltz decided to take the National Security Advisor job.
Right. And these should be easy fill-ins. But now, because of everything that's happening, I mean, Steve Bannon on his podcast last week was like, I don't know that we're going to win that. I don't think that Steve Bannon's a lot of things. He's crazy. He's, whatever, but he's not stupid.
Nope.
And he always, he tells the truth.
He's got the pulse of the MAGA grassroots. It's true. Right.
He's no dummy.
No, he's not.
And so this election, these special elections in Florida are on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, along with the judicial race in Wisconsin. And this will determine, who's, going to the House to represent the Republicans or the Democrat, perhaps. And then they were going to hold her vote on Wednesday. And then she would resign. And then Kathy Hochul would call the special election date to fill the seat in New York 21. And they're so nervous that they're going to lose their majority, that Donald Trump pulled Elise Stefanik's nomination. And she has to go walk of shame back to New York 21 with her tail between her legs. When I tell you, and I said this to Julie, Elise Stefanik, she's like, I held town halls. No, she didn't. She didn't want anything to do with her constituents unless they agreed with her. All of her town halls were usually like over the phone or invite only, because she was always wanting to be in a controlled environment where she wasn't going to be caught off guard, or she's not going to have to take questions from unfriendly staff. And that's just who she is. And she's very, very tightly wound. And the fact, she had outgrown the House, in her opinion, and was on to bigger and better things, because it's really always been about power for her. And
and you have a funny meme. Please play it.
Oh, I do. Hold on, let me load it in. It's just so good. Hold on.
Why should Caesar get to stomp around like a giant while the rest of us try not to get smushed?
I do this every time. Here we go.
Why should Caesar get to stomp around like a giant while the rest of us try not to get smushed under his big feet? What's so great about Caesar? Brutus is just as cute as Caesar. Okay, Brutus is just as smart as Caesar. People totally like Brutus just as much as they like Caesar. And when did it become okay for one person to be the boss of everybody, huh? Because that's not what Rome is about. We should totally just stab Caesar! Gretchen Wiener's had cracked.
Oh my God, I love Mean Girls.
So just so people know also, again, this has been a long obsession of mine. When Tara and I were at our last place of employment, I was often the mastermind, with an exception of maybe one or two ads that happened in 2020 and early 2021. All of the attack ads about Elise Stefanik came from me.
Came from you.
Including one called Mean Girls, which we ran up there, and she got very, very angry about.
Yes. And the thing about, and also just, okay, first of all, Mean Girls is the best movie ever. And I watch it every time it comes on. I force my husband to watch it with me whenever it comes on, because it's a classic. Mean Girls, Clueless, and Lindsay Lohan, back when she was that age, was great. And so a little quick fun fact. So Elise went to Harvard. Harvard kicked her off of the Institute of Politics board shortly after the January 6th debacle, because she wasn't sufficiently horrified by it, and they were like, oh no, you're like enabling that, you're out of here. My friend Alice Stewart, rest in peace, Alice, she took Elise Stefanik's spot on that board, on the advisory board, and one of my Harvard students went to the high school that Mean Girls was based on.
Oh, really?
Yes. So as a bonding experience with my Harvard students, we all came to my apartment at Harvard and ate pizza and watched Mean Girls.
I love it. I love it. It's just perfect. And it's funny because when I was sort of debriefing with Tedra Cobb after her second run, and I sat down with her and I was like, tell me what happened. Tell me everything you know. And I was like, she's like Regina George. She's so mean. And then she was like, oh, no. She's not Regina George. She's Gretchen Wieners.
Yes.
Gretchen Wieners. And I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
And
my dad, the inventor of Toaster
Strudels, would not be very happy about this. She went to a private all-girls high school outside Albany. She was best friends with Melissa What's-Her-Face, who was the lead advisor to Governor Andrew Cuomo. I can't remember her name. She was top advisor. They were best friends in high school. She was in Elise's wedding during COVID, when all of the back and forth happened. They got in a big fight and they stopped talking. And but yeah, she's a child of privilege. Went to.
And she didn't grow up in the district, right?
She did not.
Right. So she doesn't even go here.
Yeah, she doesn't even go here. She used her parents' vacation home to run. She used that address, and that was one of the the points of people not being very happy with her, was that she doesn't understand the district. And she like you said, she went to Harvard. She was there actually at the same time as Pete Buttigieg and Mark Zuckerberg, and she knew them. Yes. And because Elise was just, I think, like a year or two younger than me, and Pete and I are the same age. And I know, because of that, I know people who were at Harvard at the same time as her and have said, no one talks to her anymore because she's
listen, she is like a bunch of people who I used to be friends with, colleagues, even people very close to me, who have completely lost their minds, decided to go down the MAGA route and never look back. So why would you want to talk to these people anymore? It's a character issue. They're unrecognizable. I feel like I treat it like they passed away, because I want to remember the people that the way they were when we were all like, when they were normal, because looking at those people now, it's the invasion of the body snatchers. I say it all the time. Those are not the people I knew. Maybe it was hidden. I don't know, but I don't want to deal with how horrible they are now. So I just pretend like they're dead to me.
Listen, I do that with a lot of people in my life.
Yeah.
I just have to pretend that they gently passed away, and we're just not going to go there anymore.
How you cope? It's the coping. It's the coping mechanism. So
people just they you don't know who they are until they show and reveal themselves. And unfortunately, she's a political windsock. She just kind of wherever the wind blows. I mean, Mitch McConnell. And Julie and I talked about this too, because I'm like, her power hungry tunnel vision really is similar to Mitch McConnell's, and a lot of staff are her friends. That's her social circle.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Caroline Leavitt come from her?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Caroline Leavitt.
She was her communications director, and then she left to go run. Carolyn Leavitt left to go run, I think, in like New Hampshire for Congress or something that she lost. And Caroline Leavitt also was part of the training videos for Project 2025. Like 27 years old and married to like a 60-year-old or something.
Yeah, which is weird. I'll never understand that. Why anyone wants to marry their father? But anyway, so I don't get it. However, Caroline Leavitt now is in our living rooms every day and lying their ass off. Just when we thought it couldn't get any worse than Kayleigh McEnany, they got themselves a new one. So it's just. Why did one of our friends who who I will not name said that she looks like she belongs in Whoville?
Oh my God.
I cannot unsee it. I cannot unsee it.
I don't know who said that, but you need to tell me.
I will tell you in the chat.
Oh my God.
I said, oh my God. Yeah. Yes. So we're being petty right now, but fuck these people. They deserve it.
Yes. And Nate and I were talking about this today, because I was like, at some point the Democrats are going to have to start getting mean to talk about mean girls. And there is a way to get down in the mud with people without becoming, the bad guys.
That is correct. And they need not to when they have members of Congress that are able to punch back, like my girl Jasmine Crockett. You do not throw them under the bus. Like, stop.
Gosh. Right. I mean, and listen, this brings me back to what happened to Al Franken. While I did not like, the information that came to the surface about him, but and I'm not.
He shouldn't have resigned.
No,
even back then.
And I say this as, and I hope it doesn't come across as me excusing any sort of behavior where it crosses the line, because it's all unacceptable. But I come from show business. And theater world and stuff like that. And I don't know, there's just like this jokey kind of way that everybody is with each other. And but again, people do cross the line. They do. And it's inappropriate. No one should do that. But I don't know. I just never saw him as, I could be wrong, but I never saw him as being so bad, especially when you've got Donald Trump in the White House and Kirsten Gillibrand, was like, well, if we were going to go after Trump, we have to go after our own people. Actually, no, you don't.
Yeah. No, you don't.
You don't actually.
Yeah, it was an overcorrection. And that's unfortunate. Right. It's an overcorrection. And unfortunately, progressives often do that. And that's part of the problem. And people remember that. And then they're like, well, we don't want that. And it's like, so get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. We are at war with a bunch of bullies who suck. So you know what? We need to act like we're at war with a bunch of bullies. You have to punch the bullies back. Bullies don't respond to you coming to them with tea and crumpets. Right. Okay. No, we have, what they'll do? If you come to them with tea and crumpets, they'll smack it out of your hand and then laugh at you as you're picking it up off the floor. No, you have to punch the bully back. And that's what we do. That's what, we're starting to amass this resistance of people who are starting to punch the bullies back. That's what, we had Congresswoman Ballant yesterday from Vermont. Yes, she talked about it too. We're going to post the clips. I think we actually posted one of them. Yeah. She was great. We had her on our Over It show yesterday, and she said the same thing. She was like, look, you have to be willing to lose your seat. You have to fight for what's right and be willing to lose your seat to do what's right, because you don't own it. The people of your district own it, and it's up to them to decide. But you need to do the right thing. Stop worrying about whether you're going to get reelected or not.
Yeah.
And she's right.
You see, Ann Richards, you know, in her one term as the governor of Texas, said, I wish that I, you know, if I'd known that I only had one term, I would have done a whole lot more. And
she said, I would have raised more hell.
Raised more hell. Sorry, that's more.
Yeah, Ann Richards was a spitfire. She was a Democrat. She's the last Democrat that governor of Texas.
Yeah, she's the one who said, you know, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did, but backwards in high heels.
That's
like, that
right.
And she, obviously, her daughter Cecile Richards, also rest in peace. Recently, I mean, just an incredible woman. But to the point of Congresswoman Ballin talking about her, when you're in power, you take risks and you do the right thing, and it shouldn't matter if you're going to be reelected or not. I mean, this is the beast that has swallowed the Republicans whole. Yes. Is because they're so afraid of losing the power, so afraid of giving up their seat. And look, I mean, Liz Cheney
on the other side too. Why do you think Democratic leadership is so scared to do the right thing? Because they're scared of losing power. They're playing it safe. This is not the time to play it safe.
Right. Chuck Schumer, who I think is like on another planet. I mean, just listening to the way he's been talking about it, it just seems like he doesn't realize where we're at. Kirsten Gillibrand, I don't know what's going on with her. And I asked the Congresswoman, you know, the span of these 10 people, we're dealing with Schumer, who's not on planet Earth, and you're dealing with Brian Schatz of Hawaii, who knows exactly what's going on. And he has been very outspoken and has done, you know, these filibuster overnight, like, we're going to do this thing, which is great. And when we have been big fans of his and like put his speeches up on our account, and then he voted with the 10. And I, you know, the only thing that makes sense, and people have written about this, is that he has career ambitions to be Senate Majority Minority Leader for the Democrats, or, you know, the whip or whatever it is. And that's
not going to ingratiate him.
No,
I mean, I think that was a terrible miscalculation. Maybe in the old days, we aren't in the old days.
He's getting absolutely killed on social media.
He's getting dragged.
He's getting dragged, and it's too bad. I mean, but I don't know him. We don't know him, but personally, he seemed like a really, really nice guy and somebody who was there for all the right reasons. And maybe he is. And
maybe he is. It's just, you know, people make mistakes. They make miscalculations in this business. And I think he's going to look back and regret that decision.
I think so too. And it's not brave. It's not, it makes you wonder how many of them are just full of shit and just giving us lip service. I hope not. There's, you know, I think windows of opportunity coming up soon where people can prove us the other way. But for now,
he can redeem himself. We'll give him a chance to redeem himself.
We'll see. Very disappointed.
I know. Well, what's not been disappointing, and I want to make sure that we end the show on a positive note, is that people have been raising hell at these empty chair town halls.
Amen.
And Rachel Maddow did a thing this week on that was very inspiring. Michelle brought up earlier how this state Senate seat in Pennsylvania switched to Democrat for the first time in 150 years. This is encouraging. And what happened with Elise Stefanik, even though we were, you know, busting chops about her, this is significant because for the Republicans must be nervous. They must be looking at their polling and they're concerned because this groundswell of grassroots support from the average American person who remembers that they work for us, these people, this matters. And so if for them to pull Elise Stefanik's domination like that, tells me that they were worried about what was happening in New York 21. And for those who have been with us for a while, know that we had Blake Gilderbean on with us. And he's the dairy farmer that had a very good chance of winning, particularly if they split the vote again, which is what looked like it was happening. Michelle was telling me this week, we were just having this conversation because we were talking about what some of our next content was going to be. And we were talking about, like, you know what, we should be running some stuff up in New York 21 because that district is so big that it's a microcosm of a lot of Republican districts that are suffering from what Trump is doing. They have a border with Canada. They have agriculture. They have Fort Drum. They've got, senior citizens.
Right.
Yes, the healthcare issues. They've got, lack of manufacturing, so job loss, like all of the things that Trump.
Broadband. I mean, it's like, it's going.
It's a microcosm of all those things. And so she was telling me that there is a this like sticker guy who's like a total MAGA guy. He owns like some sticker factory. He's a MAGA douchebag. And then there was this other person who that was looking about running. So if they all run at the same time, then it splits the vote.
Right.
And they would lose that district. And that must have been what they saw happening.
I think it was because, so the sticker guy, you can go and Google him. His name is Anthony Constantino. He's like
this guy's Instagram.
It's you have to go look and like watch the interviews with him because it's
another caricature.
Yes. And I will say all the Republicans who have run up there or have been elected are like, at least present normal. And he is like, mega.
Like Roger Stone MAGA.
He's friends with Roger Stone. Roger Stone co-hosted a cage match fight for him in Glens Falls to raise money. You know, he's been pictures with Steve Bannon. I mean, he so he was saying, I mean, because I think he saw the writing. He had his thumb on the pulse and was like, they're not going to pick me. The Republicans aren't going to pick me. And I could tell that they weren't. And he was like, then I'm going to run third party. I've done all this work. I have all this money. I have the support. I'm going to do it. And I think Roger Stone was behind him.
Probably.
Help him. And they saw, and he said that in the last couple days, he can't, and I had a feeling he was going to do it anyways, but he went public with that statement. And they saw what was going to happen.
Yes. And I actually said to Michelle, I was like, I'd be curious to see. I didn't see them pulling Elise's nomination this soon. I didn't see that coming. But I was like, I wonder if Elon's going to parachute in and then kind of, spend money on one of those candidates, and that would upset the whole thing. But we didn't even get that far because now.
I mean, there are certain things I didn't have on my bingo card, like cutting the FAA was one of them. This is another one, like taking the rug out from Elise and going, sorry, girl. Ooh, I mean, again, and it's just, this wouldn't have happened if she wasn't a woman too. I will say that, like all these women that that think somehow they are going to be recused or excused from the misogyny inside MAGA. Well, it's not going to be me. Yes, it will. It will.
Yeah. It will. That's right.
There's no amount of groveling or sniveling or anything that's going to get you in the good grade. And this is what people just seem to never understand about MAGA. It's like,
nope,
there's no space for you. It's about immediate, instant gratification of whatever Trump needs. And also Elon. Elon is very, very similar to, that's how he operates. It's like, you're either helping me in the moment, and as soon as you're done, I don't need you anymore.
Yes. Gina Guthrie said, I feel like we're in a Western, criminals running amok. I mean, it's a badly produced Western is what we feel like we're living in right now. Good point.
There was a sheriff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm your Huckleberry. Like,
Oh my God. Listen, I wish someone was as good looking as Clint Eastwood was back then around. Then, I don't know, maybe it'd be more palatable, but gosh. Well, anyway. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Big shout out and appreciation to Denver Riggleman for joining us in the beginning. And we will be back with you guys on Saturday for our Overt Coffee and Conversation with our girls, Julie Roginski and JoJo from Jurors. So come hang out with us on Saturday. And I will not be here next week because I will be on an adventure for my husband's birthday. But Michelle will have something great for you guys when maybe, I don't know, I'll pop in depending on what's happening. Maybe I may or may not. It depends on where we are. There may not be Wi-Fi, but I just want to say, hold the ship down for me until I get back. Hopefully they'll let me back in.
Oh, well, we're going to do it.
But I will be with you guys on Saturday. So come check us out on Saturday and check out my Substack. Uncompromised. If you're on Substack, please. Michelle's got a Substack. We're all on Substack now. It's the cool place to be.
Yeah.
It's the cool place to be. I posted my Set Mayor sound off there, and I'll have some other stuff going on. So Uncompromised with Tara, and we appreciate you guys. And thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.
See you then. Take care.
There's a shadow president in Washington.
Sitting behind the Resolute desk.
We didn't elect this guy. He wants us to believe he's a self-made man, that he made his billions through hard work and his so-called genius.
He didn't invent the
SpaceX explosion.
But the truth is, he mooched off the American taxpayer.
Pronounced subsidies.
Our money. And he's too arrogant to admit the free ride that we have been giving him. Republicans used to attack folks living off government assistance, calling them welfare queens. But it was all a myth. The real welfare queen is Elon Musk.
We gave him all his money.
And he's coming for more. Our Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, our jobs, our private information, our livelihoods, our safety. And Donald Trump is letting him.
Is there anything you've told Elon Musk he cannot touch?
Well, we haven't discussed that much.
Don't be fooled. This isn't about making government work better for you. It's about making America work for him. Are we gonna stand back and stand by and let this happen? Hey, Congress, we're talking to you too. You work for us. Do your job and stop this now.